Welcome! Today we're going to talk about this awesome 2021 Tesla Model 3 Long Range All-Wheel Drive. And this one is a little bit extra special because it has a full self-driving capability. We are actually pretty lucky this month. Usually it's pretty hard to find Teslas with full self-driving capability because right now they actually reduced the price down to $12,000, but that's still a lot of money. But for a while it was $15,000 for this upgrade. So if you're looking for the full self-driving capability, this 21 Model 3 is an awesome find. And full self-driving can be subscribed to or can be purchased. So if you're looking at a Tesla, how do you know it's comes with a vehicle and it's an included package that you'll get the updates, you don't have to pay a monthly fee for? Or how do you know if it is a subscribed to service? Well, you can see here, premium connectivity expires September 30th, 2023. If this was subscribed to, it would also have an expiration date for the full self-driving capability, but it says included package. Another way to know if you're maybe looking at a private seller that has full self-driving, you can also look on the app. This is a Tesla app, really cool. I can go on and on about just the Tesla app, how amazing it is, but you can see here, it also says full self-driving capability and specs. So we know that this vehicle comes with the software and it will be transferred over to the new owner. What we do is we put, when we buy a Tesla, we have a corporate Tesla account for our dealership. So all our Teslas that the dealership owns, until we sell them, we put it on our account. Because if you need to service them, manage them, supercharge them, you need to have them on your account. But also, we want to make sure that when we sell a vehicle, a customer is not going to lose software. Like if we tell them that it has full self-driving capability, and then they lose it when we transfer ownership, they'd be pretty upset. We've sold a lot of Teslas with full self-driving capability and other upgrades. We've never had a customer lose it, knock on wood. But when we transfer it over to our account, usually if the software stays when we transfer it to our account, it's not going to be lost when we transfer it to the customer's account when they buy it. So that's just a little bit tidbit on the software. I know people are confused by it. Some people have a fear of it being lost or taken away. I can understand those fears, and that might enlighten you a little bit. And also, let's take a look at the specs and warranty. Another thing about Tesla is they have a lot of warranty on their vehicles. So this one has a bumper-to-bumper warranty that expires June 20th, 2025, or 50,000 miles, whichever comes first. But the battery and drive units, a lot of people ask me, hey, when are they going to have to replace the batteries in the Tesla? Well, batteries in an EV are like an engine in a car. Really, they're not really designed to be replaced. They're designed to last the service life of the vehicle. And just like, some engines prematurely go bad, that can happen with batteries. But we have a drive unit and battery coverage all the way up till June 20th, 2029, or 120,000 miles, whichever comes first. That's like having a 120,000 mile powertrain warranty. It's 2023 right now, so it'll be a long time before you have to worry about your batteries going bad in this car with all that coverage from Tesla. Pretty awesome stuff. So I'm going to do a little quick overview of this Model 3. And then, more importantly, we're going to get behind the wheel and take it for a spin, and I'll show you the full self-driving. I own a Tesla myself. I love cars. I own gas cars. I own an Infiniti, but I also own a Tesla with full self-driving capability, which I've had for a year. And I'd love to tell you more about it. So let's do a little overview of this 21 Tesla all-wheel drive. 2021 is a great year for the Model 3 because Tesla rolled out a lot of changes right around the 2021 model year. We can see that the wood interior trim now extends over to the door. And then we can also see we have a nicer redesigned center console with this wireless charging pad, a little bit nicer design than the old one. And there are things that you can't see. One thing that you can't see is the addition of a heat pump. A heat pump, like you find in your house, makes your house more efficient. Well, it's the same thing with an EV. It makes the EV a lot more efficient, using the heat pump to either cool or heat the cabin of the vehicle. When they added the heat pump to the Model 3, it made a big increase in the range. I think the rating for the range on this 21 is like 330 or 340 miles, which is a big jump up. I think it was about 310 or 320 miles, which was the range of the 2020 your Model 3 all-wheel drive. So that's a big jump in the range. Then I'll show you a few additional options that were added to the vehicle when we move towards the outside. So the majority of the functionality is handled in this screen, so it's infinitely configurable. Since the functionality is not tied to hard buttons and knobs, with over-the-air updates, there's actually another update that we need to download in this vehicle. Things are constantly changing, they're constantly improving. You have video games with premium connectivity. You can stream Netflix. You can't do this while you're driving, but while you're parked, if you're out like on the ferry or waiting for your spouse in the grocery store, you can watch Netflix, Hulu. You have an arcade. You have the toy box where you have the whoopee cushion, colorizer, multi-track recorder, boom box where you can actually talk through your horn. You can make your horn sound like a fart or a goat. So much, some stuff's silly, some stuff's actually really helpful. We have a blind spot cameras. That's just to show you how awesome these over-the-air updates. For years, Model 3 did not have blind spot cameras. Then one day, Tesla gave you an over-the-air update. Now you have blind spot cameras. That's just the magic of having the functionality tied to this display right here. All right, let's keep it rolling along because I wanted to save some time to actually show you the full self-driving capability. The Model 3 is a really nice looking design. It's very minimalist. Its simplistic design has definitely grown on me. It's a wedge shape. I like the way it looks. Another addition that we saw coming out in 2021 is these upgraded headlights. Now we have a projector here. And another thing is the roll of Tesla glass. We've started to see that kind of roll out on the Model 3 as well, right around 2021, 2022. We can see of this double pane glass, well, there's a sound deadening material sandwiched in between, which really makes it a lot quieter. This proprietary glass, they call it Tesla glass, that was developed by Tesla. It's very strong, and it's also very quiet. Since we don't have an engine here, we have a frunk, which is more storage. It's also a safety feature because you have all that space to absorb crush energy in a frontal collision. This has dual motors. It has a motor in the front and a motor in the back, which makes it all-wheel drive, which also makes it really quick. It's like having two engines. And since we don't have a drive shaft and exhaust system, gas tanks, if we're not hampered by the conventional design of a gas-powered vehicle, it allows us to have lots of interior space. Generally, you have more interior space and more cargo space in a Model 3 versus a comparable sized gas-powered vehicle. When we go towards the back, we can see a very spacious trunk. It's actually very surprising how spacious it is. And then we have even more storage under there. Also for 2021, we have a power-operated trunk. Previously, they were manually operated on the Model 3. Let's get behind the wheel and show you the full self-driving. Okay, so for full self-driving, to operate the full self-driving software, you go over to Autopilot, and we can see we have full self-driving beta, we have auto steer beta, and traffic aware cruise control. So full self-driving is still very much in beta, so it can be a little herky-jerky. It can kind of be wild sometimes, so it's not for everybody. So if you buy a Tesla full self-driving capability and you're not ready to use the full self-driving, what you can do is you can put it on auto steer beta. Basically, that will mimic Autopilot, which is Tesla's amazing traffic aware cruise control. So you can put it in auto steer, or you can even put it in regular traffic aware cruise control. But auto steer beta, I think, is fine for everybody. That's a very proven system, and it comes with all Teslas. Pretty much every Tesla after 2019 comes with the Autopilot. So Autopilot allows the vehicle to brake and accelerate in its own lane, steer in its own lane, but that pretty much limits it. It's not gonna, do wild stuff like, change lanes on the highway, change lanes on the road, making left and right hand turns. But when you are ready to use a full self-driving, you can put it in full self-driving beta. And it has a little disclaimer here because you need to pay attention. You need to keep your hand on the wheel. The car is driving itself, but it's in beta. It's still learning. And us using the software, us driving this Tesla on full self-driving, we're helping train the software. We're teaching it to drive, because Tesla uses all the people's information who are driving these Teslas. And don't worry, they respect people's privacy, but they use all the info with these full self-driving Teslas. I think there's probably 300,000 or 400,000 right now throughout the world. And they use that information to improve the software, train it, and make it better. And then you get an update, just like now there's an update that we can download, and it will get a little bit better. I've had my full self-driving for a year, and I can tell you it's progressed a lot in the past year. It's not perfect, but it's come a long way. So now we have it in full self-driving, so we need to navigate to a destination. You don't have to navigate to a destination to use the full self-driving, but for it to really work the way you want it to, you need to navigate to where you want to go. I need to go pay the mortgage on my boat, so we're going to go to Highly Boast Marina, which is not too far right there. And I know what you're thinking, oh, that rich car guy with his fancy yacht. Well, this is a working man's marina. My fancy yacht is a little sailboat I bought 10 years ago for $1,200, and I pay $122 for mortgage. It's the cheapest mortgage and pretty much the South Sound. So it's a working man's blue collar marina. It's not a fancy yacht club. All right. So full self-driving sometimes can work in parking lots, but it's really not optimized for parking lots. So usually I don't activate it until we're ready to get outside the parking lot, because sometimes it can get a little confused. Because sometimes in parking lots it might go too fast. See, you know, I don't want to go 25 miles an hour here. So that's why. Oh, now it's recognizing 10 miles per hour.
In 500 feet, turn right onto Pacific Highway East.
All right, so I think we're in a position now to activate it. So to activate the full self-driving or autopilot, I'm going to push down twice on this stalk. Now the steering wheel is highlighted in blue, so that means this car is driving.
Onto Pacific Highway East.
So you can either hit the brake or you can push up on this to deactivate the autopilot. So there's a lot of things going on right now. We have a bicyclist crossing, we have cars. There's a lot of stuff for this car to keep an eye on, and sometimes it can get confused. That's why they want you to pay attention and keep your hand in the wheel, because sometimes it might pull out in front of a car. Like it felt like it was going to pull out, but then it stopped. So it's doing a good job. But sometimes it will pull out in front of a car, which is not a good idea, and you have to stop it. And here it goes. It's kind of reluctantly coming out, taking a right-hand turn. And I can also, I didn't do it this time, but you can also hit the throttle to encourage it to go. Just sometimes if it's a little bit overly cautious and you know you're clear to make a turn, you can hit the throttle, and that will be like saying, okay, it's good, you're good, and that will let the car go forward without shutting off the autopilot or the full self-driving in this case. But if I want to shut it off, I can put my foot in the brake, or I can push up like that, and now it's shut off, and I just push down twice to activate it again. Now they have this new update where you can actually give memos to Tesla. Why did you disengage autopilot? What happened? So we can help Tesla improve the software, and they can know why we had to disengage it, and they have footage. This car has video going around, 360 video cameras all the time. So it's like a 360 dash cam. Comes in very helpful. I had a weirdo at the dealership not too long ago, and I had to kick him off the lot. And since I knew my Tesla had a dash cam, I'm like, I'll just drive up there and kick him out. That way, if he goes crazy on me or I need to send video footage to the police, it's all recorded, as you can see. So you can probably imagine how helpful that can be. Or unhelpful. If you're gonna cheat on your spouse, don't do it in a Tesla, because your spouse, she can see where you're going, or he. They can pull up the live cameras.
In 500 feet, turn right onto State Highway 509.
So it's doing a great job. I haven't really had to help it out. I haven't had to disengage it. I haven't had to hit the throttle. We have a green light up here. We're not going too far, so this will be a pretty seamless drive, I think, on full self-driving. The rest of the way should be pretty gravy for this Tesla. And you can use this scroll wheel right here to adjust the speed limit. You can, you know, the speed limit's 50. Sometimes an autopilot will limit to you 5 miles over, but here with the full self-driving, I mean, if I want to put it at 80, I can, but I'm not going to do that. Slow it down to 55. And also, if you wanted to change lanes, you just put on the signal right there, and it will change lanes for you. In a way, so basically on the highway, it's basically operating kind of like enhanced autopilot. Enhanced autopilot is like full self-driving, except it's just for the highway. It full self-drives from the highway on-ramp to the off-ramp. Where full self-driving capability, that's the full meal deal. This thing will stop for red lights, it'll stop for stop signs, it'll make left and right hand turns, and it will navigate in city streets and roads, not just the highway like the enhanced autopilot. They're all great. Even the regular autopilot's fantastic. I use the regular autopilot all the time, and it's fantastic. And you know, the regular autopilot can just be used on regular roads, not just the highway. You do have to be diligent and pay attention, but it's fantastic, especially for people who are, you know, have to drive and stop and go traffic. Or driving on the highway. Driving and stop and go traffic is very monotonous. So the car is doing the work for you. You're just in supervisor mode. You know, and I can't tell you, it definitely lifts a weight off your shoulders. These advanced driver's assistance systems, also called ADAS, can be very helpful, like at nighttime when it's dark and raining out. It can be hard to see. I have pretty good vision. I don't wear glasses, but when it's dark and rainy, it's hard sometimes to keep your car set. You're kind of really struggling to see the lane. well, the autopilot, the enhanced autopilot, the full self-driving capability, it has a lot easier time with those things. All right, so I'm going to increase the speed limit to 45. It looks like we're going to make it to the marina without any issues at all. This wasn't really too complex driving work for the full self-driving. There are definitely more complex routes to go. There's really bad traffic today, so this is the way with the least amount of traffic. But yeah, the system's amazing. I use the full self-driving maybe 95% of the time while I'm driving. I love it, it's great, and it definitely takes the workload off your shoulders. And it's progressed a lot, and it'll continue to get better. You know, and hopefully maybe 2 or 3 years, this might be at the point where it can drive completely unsupervised. You can take a nap, you can do your work, you can watch Netflix, or maybe while you're working, it can be a robo-taxi making money for you. You know, helping pay back the cost of ownership of a vehicle. Because the thing with cars is 98% of the time, a car isn't doing anything, it's just sitting. So if you can have a vehicle that can drive itself and be a robo-taxi, then you can utilize that vehicle a lot more. All right, so we're about to pass the marina, but we have really heavy traffic right now, and I'm gonna have to stop and make a left-hand turn. And yeah, I don't want to do that. And it's trying to change lanes. So this is a little bit of annoyance right here. Sometimes, like, I have a left-hand turn coming up right now, and the autopilot's trying to change lanes into this lane, even though we have a left-hand turn coming up. So that's one little annoyance that they need to work on with the full self-driving. So this is the marina right here. Obviously, it got me there pretty fast, but I don't want to stop in this traffic and block all the cars behind me for no reason. So that pretty much ends our little drive in this Model 3 with full self-driving. If you want to see more elaborate or more in-depth full self-driving videos, visit our YouTube page, Infiniti of Tacoma 1. I have many other videos of driving various Teslas with full self-driving, you know, navigating to the supercharger, things like that. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it. Appreciate the views. Hopefully this was informative, regardless if you're, you know, looking at this specific Tesla or just for information in general. Thanks so much. Hope to see you soon, and have a wonderful day.